But I think an important part of therapy and an important part of mindfulness and mental health is learning to be easier and more gentle with yourself when you have internal dialogue. There's a lot of people in my lifestyle, the punk rock music lifestyle, the skinhead scene and stuff, that think that to mention that you have an awareness of mental health or lack thereof, that you're weak. I try to tell people, you get a chance to go into therapy, if you have a chance to speak with a counselor or a psychiatrist or psychologist, man, pour yourself into it.
Yeah.
I put so much faith in the universe for that, and so much faith in God. I know that when the chips are down, sometimes the best thing you can do in life is just go still and let the world happen around you for a little bit, and sooner or later you get picked right back up and you're back in the flow.
Yeah.
I can feel tension and I can feel anxiety building in me, and it sort of collects, and I really look forward to and enjoy having the ability to to take all the little things you pick up along the way that kind of get stuck in your head and kind of make you angry or frightened or any of the myriad of negative emotional states you could come from.
Yeah.
Well, music lets me channel that into something, and it gives me the energy and the focus to put it towards something positive.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Collaborative Resource Hub by Wellness Provisions. Our mission is to bridge the gap between mental health, wellness, and music, specifically rock and roll. I'm Amy McBride, owner of Wellness Provisions, the most badass wellness business. Wellness Provisions supplies rock and rollers with high-quality supplements. We give you a trustworthy place to go where you can essentially shop blindfolded. Our wellness kits were created out of a need to simplify your shopping experience and make it stress-free. You'll get the most effective nutrients in the least amount of bottles with the least trial and error. Immerse yourself in the Collaborative Resource Hub by going to our website, where you'll have access to helpful resources that can nudge you in the right direction. Let's inspire each other. If that guy did it, so can you. Find the Collaborative Resource Hub interviews on YouTube, all major podcast platforms, and get cool music and wellness perks by supporting us on Patreon. Last but not least, my legal disclaimer: nothing in this interview or the Collaborative Resource Hub substitutes medical advice. Please connect with your GP if you need medical guidance.
It's recording. Let's start.
Let's do this.
Eddie, thank you for having me in your tattoo space.
Absolutely. Glad you guys could make it. Yeah, this is home away from home, so to speak.
Yeah. So
where I do what I do.
You're the singer of Patriot.
I am.
And also a tattoo artist.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
How long have you been doing both of those?
I've been singing in a band over 30 years. It was Patriot was formed in October of 1990, so October of 2020 was our 30-year mark. So it's just a little past 30 years playing music with Patriot. And this past June was 23 years of tattooing professionally.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How are your wrists holding up?
Good. It's when at the end of a particularly busy day, it's always my neck and my shoulders where I feel it. I don't know. Maybe I've just wrecked my hands too much to even feel it anymore.
They're so numb. You're like, I don't even know that it hurts.
Right. Look at these old claws.
Yeah. So for someone who hasn't heard Patriot before, how would you describe the band?
Patriot is a street punk American oi band that celebrates the values and the struggle of stereotypical working class people, especially as it pertains to American society. We champion the working class. And the genre we operate in, could be easily called punk rock, but lyrically we're dealing with less nihilistic and anti-establishment themes as in so much as we lean more towards promoting and championing values that are sort of indicative to working class people, ideally speaking. And musically, it's stepped down a bit, not quite as frenetic, more more, I guess, rock and roll based, but with
Okay.
a heavier edge to it, you know. But
And a little like anthem sort of.
very
slant to
anthemic,
it,
I
yeah.
think, a lot of times. That's sort of by design. I think when we set out to write songs, it's nice to be able to write material that, you know, has the hooks that people kind of hang on to
Yeah.
and sticks with them.
Yeah,
So,
and you can get rowdy at shows and stuff
Absolutely.
with it.
Absolutely, and lots of beer helps with that too. you know.
Right. And then there's that.
There's always that.
Um,
Sorry to all you people out there that have substance abuse problems. So,
well, yeah, you can still enjoy the music anyway.
absolutely, absolutely. It's our hope that you know that you can kind of come out with nothing else
Right.
and you know, have a good time. You know,
Yeah.
blow off some steam.
Yeah.
You know, if nothing else, you can get in the pit and you know, kill a few brain cells that way.
There you
know?
go. Let off steam.
Right.
So how does being in a band creating music impact your mental health?
Well, for me, playing music, writing, composing, playing music is very cathartic. You know, I've been through phases in life since I started playing music. You know, a dry spell here, a dry spell there, where the band wasn't doing anything, and even, unfortunately, a short period where the band was broken up. You know, some internal issues that, you know, eventually got resolved. And during those times, that kind of dry spell, it's you know, I can feel tension and I can feel anxiety building in me, and it sort of collects, you know. And I really look forward to and enjoy having the ability to, you know, to take all the little things you pick up along the way that kind of get stuck in your head and kind of make you you know, angry or frightened or any of the myriad of you know, negative emotional states you could come from.
Yeah.
Well, music lets me channel that into something, and it gives me the energy and the focus to put it towards something positive.
Yeah.
And if something, maybe I can say a little something in a song, if I'm lucky, that somebody else can relate to, and they can, you know, wow, I'm glad I got to hear that. That kind of, you know, if I'm able to do that, then that's everything I could ever possibly want out of playing music. You know, that's cool. You know, you know, ultimately we're all in this together, so we all got to take what help we can from whatever source it comes from.
Exactly.
So maybe something I've said or done musically has helped somebody else.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, music is cathartic. It definitely cleans me out. I have to, even when it comes to writing, even when the band's active, I sometimes have to take a little time and just kind of sponge up all the garbage and all the things in the world that I would draw inspiration from, and you know, turn that towards the writing and composing process, you know, primarily lyrically, but of course, you know, I have a little bit of input too on the composition and arrangement as well. Yeah.
Do you journal ever, like, or is it just sort of like notes for, like, specifically for songs?
You know, the funny thing is I love the thought of journaling, but I'm so damn forgetful. I'll start a journal, and a week later I'm like, oh yeah, I've got a journal I'm supposed to be writing in. You know, I'm terrible about that sort of thing. It's just, you know, I think it's a really helpful tool. You know, establishing and maintaining some mindfulness, you know, which is really important to me. But at the same time, one, I forget about keeping it up, you know, and two, I'm really self-critical. You know, I'll go back and read stuff that was just meant to be my idea at the time, in the moment, you know, put it out on paper and get it out of the old bin, as it were.
Yeah.
And as a result, you know, I go back and I realize, oh, that sounds like shit. You know, why did I write it that way? Why did I write it, you know?
That's also growth. If, like,
Absolutely.
you don't agree with or identify with those feelings anymore, you're like, God, why did I feel that low, or, you know, I'm complaining or something, you know.
Right.
So then it shows that you've kind of, like, progressed out of it.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's exactly one of the main reasons I would think that keeping a journal is so helpful. Is it's sort of this transitionary or step-by-step process of just sweeping out the cobwebs, as it were.
Yeah.
You know, and that would ultimately be my goal. But then, like I said, I'll go back and I'll read it and I'll say, that sucks. I don't want to. I suck at this. You know, I don't want to write anymore. You know. And
then you also just don't have to go back and read it. You can just write it to get it out, and then never look at it again.
There you go. I think if anyone else found it, though, that would be the end of my career in politics. Yeah. So.
Is there anything else that you implement for yourself for mindfulness?
Well, it's so important. I think for me, it's important to have a balance. I think there's so many good people in this world that wear their heart on their sleeves, and they feel sincerely guilty about putting themselves first sometimes. And not at the detriment of the others around you, but sometimes you're not going to be any good to anyone else if you don't take care of you first.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I have a fairly good ability to say, okay, I want nothing more in the world than to help this person or that person, but if I do, it's going to put me in this place, So you have to know when to say when. So that balance is important to me. I try to bring that to bear.
Yeah.
And
boundaries.
Right, boundaries, very important, very important. And it's not an easy thing, especially in new relationships with people. You kind of want to start out. You meet a new friend, you meet a new work colleague or something. And you kind of want to establish those boundaries without coming off like an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you want to be as open and as giving as you can as well.
Right.
So, it's definitely at first it's sort of a give and take.
Yeah. And it's like a lot of things where it's a fine line, but it's true. I mean, you have to prioritize yourself.
Absolutely, that's an important part of self-help and mental health.
Yeah, and it seems like cliche, and I feel like especially with social media, it's like written as like a meme and like everywhere, but it's, I feel like it's taken like the meaning away from it almost.
Yeah,
but
if you're not in a good space, you're not going to be much help to anyone else you care about. Anybody else around you. But I definitely have I guess this balance I look for between. I have the idea that I feel like the old Buddhist proverb, find yourself in service to others, has a lot of bearing, a lot of merit, but you have to know when to say when too. There is an important time when enough's enough, and you have to say, I want to help, but I can't right now. I need this time for me. I try to tell people, you get a chance to go into therapy, if you have a chance to speak with a counselor or a psychiatrist or psychologist, man, pour yourself into it, because it's such an awesome opportunity to dig around inside, because everything you want, everything you need is right here. It's, and I try to tell people, if you're going into therapy, man, take it by the neck and wring it out. Make it work for you. Don't go in there with all of these hang-ups about, I'm afraid to say this, or I'm afraid to tell somebody that. It's not going to work for you if you don't jump right in. Yeah, you got to be completely honest with yourself. And in turn with the person you're doing therapy with. So,
have you when you've done therapy, have you just been with one person, or have you been with different counselors?
I've over the years I've processed through numerous counselors.
Okay.
But it's always been a one-on-one arrangement.
Yeah.
I've never actually done group therapy, although I've had several of my therapists encourage me to lead a group therapy session. That because they felt like, my I guess what I was bringing to the table in terms of openness and commitment to the process was indicative of that. Maybe it might show that I might could help someone else out.
It could inspire someone else and have them open up.
Right. Yeah. I thought about it as a time when I thought I might get into adult counseling and therapy work for inmates and gang kids and stuff like that, just because with my background, where I came from and all of my brushes with the
all
law.
Of your prison tattoos.
Well, unfortunately, none of them were done in prison, but I have sat behind bars for a stint here and a stint there. Mostly county stuff. Nothing crazy. I've never been in the actual system, but I've definitely spent a few nights in county jail here and there from stupid choices I made in times past, So, but that all plays into my life experience with the music as well too. So
yeah. But in the end, you didn't want to host anything like that or lead it.
In all honesty, the reason I haven't done it, other than the fact that I've been busy with tattooing, with the band, with kind of part of my journey is just taking care of me. My mindfulness and my wellness as well. That's been a bit demanding, but I got to be honest and say that there's a small part of me that was afraid of committing to all the hard work of the study and the schooling and and stuff like that. I went to college and got an art degree many years ago, and that's fine. But when we're talking about a calling that's more cerebral, in my opinion, I think it's a little daunting, a little intimidating to just jump on that horse and ride it.
Yeah.
So,
with the therapy, has there been specific kinds that you've done, or just like general like talk therapy?
Pretty much just general talk therapy. I branched out a little bit. When I first started seeing a therapist around 2008, it was because I had just come out of a divorce, and I realized I was actually kind of surprised, but I realized I was really angry. I was really frustrated. I had just come out of a marriage, pretty much kicked out of a marriage that I didn't want to be in the first place. And then when the chips fell, my wife at the time, she wasn't interested in any kind of therapy, any kind of counseling, any other kind of programs or resources that might help save the marriage.
Right.
Retrospectively, I realized we got married for the wrong reasons. I married her for the wrong reasons. She married me for the wrong reason, and that's fine. That's life. You make your choices and you live and you learn. But to get to the end of everything that I felt like I'd kind of gone through and all the hard work I'd put into making a marriage that I wasn't really 100% sure about in the first place work, only to be, all right, 2 years is I'll beat it, as if I didn't have any say in it at all. And so, I went ahead and packed up and moved out. And ultimately I found myself just like, what the fuck,
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking
because
back
you're
on that.
blindsided.
Yeah, exactly. You don't see it coming, but then on top of that, you make what you believe every reasonable effort to salvage or to back up, address issues, hopefully fix them and move forward, rather than throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
And she just wasn't interested in it, I guess I was just too crazy. But I wish her well. No hard feelings, all the best. And like I said, we were just we grew apart, and we had been in managed to make our way into sort of different places. And
had it crossed your mind like then to try and do like couples counseling or something like before things kind of got worse?
And honestly, no, it really hadn't, because I hate to say it, but I think I was a little oblivious, which is kind of my bad, And although I really tried to be as aware of a husband as I could, and to be focused in on what matters, my responsibilities. Yeah, it just came out of left field, I mean, I knew things had been a bit tumultuous. We've been arguing a lot lately, and unfortunately, I believe there's some outside influence too. Some people on the outside telling her, just get rid of him, kick him to the curb, and.
But so, do you think then that having gone through that, you've relationships since have been healthier, at least in some of those areas that you were kind of in the negative?
Absolutely. And that's where therapy has helped me so much. It's really helped me to not only fine tune my inner focus on on the person I want to be and what I need to do to be there, to get there, but it's helped me a great deal with emotional maturity as well. It's so important that I guess it kind of goes back to what I was saying about you got to love you first before you can love someone else. And as a result, I've learned to be better about my taking care of me, and my taking care of my where my head's at, my heart's at. So that helped a lot. But but ultimately too, it's all just experience. It's life experience.
Completely.
It's so important to try and always keep in mind that nothing's ever as bad as you think it is. and that I truly believe things always work out for the best.
Mm-hmm.
They don't always work out like you think you want them to.
Right, but it is.
But they
for
do
the
work
best.
out for the best. Exactly.
I completely agree with that.
I mean, I put
as
so
well.
much faith in the universe for that, and so much faith in God. I know that when the chips are down, sometimes the best thing you can do in life is just go still and let the world happen around you for a little bit, and sooner or later you get picked right back up and you're back in the flow.
Yeah.
And the best thing to do is just have that small sense of security and that small sense of optimism that, hey, it's just a bump in the road.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is there any kind of like, I guess, tactics or anything that you do to make sure that you are putting yourself first?
It's a combination of things, I guess. I don't think that I really have this sort of formal laid out game plan that I utilize, but I definitely, some meditation, some prayer, which to me are much the same.
Yeah.
Not to sound like I'm trying to be some kind of a martyr or anything, but I find when I'm able to reach out to someone else and offer myself, my time, my attention, and ear to someone else that I think might be hurting, that's cathartic, or rather that's...
it helps you, it takes the focus off yourself.
Sure.
And not in a distracting way, but I think it just reprioritizes
Absolutely
your issues and
yeah
stuff. Like
well, especially if you can keep in mind, hey, this seems like this is awful, my life is doomed, I'm down the toilet, and not at all, usually with the light of the new day, it's like, oh, well, it wasn't that bad after all.
Yeah.
So that's why I think about all these poor people that think about or God forbid, actually take their own lives. It's like there's nothing so great in this world that's worth dying over. We have to just kind of, there's got to be some sort of inner peace or inner resolve that you have to kind of realize that nothing is that serious. And and I tell myself sometimes that nothing else, I'm gonna live as long as I can just to piss everyone else off.
Whatever keeps you moving forward.
Right, exactly. Yeah, whatever I have to do to stir the mix and keep people
on their toes.
On their toes, exactly. Thank you. One thing I wanted to kind of shed some light on the. Now, granted, this is a generalization, but I feel like it's fairly consistent that there's a lot of there's a lot of people in my lifestyle, the punk rock music lifestyle, the skinhead scene and stuff, that think that to mention that you have an awareness of mental health or lack thereof, that you're weak, or that you're a pussy or something, and I just seems like the only kind of mental health issues that are glorified is when you're homicidal and you can take it to the streets and beat 50 people's ass with an axe handle,
Right.
That's not good, and so that's I just would want to encourage anybody that's in a similar lifestyle, that man, at the end of the day, we're all only humans, and no one person is an island. You have to, you have to accept the fact that we are all fine-tuned machines, and it's very easy for little things and especially big things to knock that stuff out of alignment. So if you ever feel yourself in a place where you're unhappy, you're depressed, you're angry, you're struggling with negative emotions, it's perfectly normal, and it's perfectly okay to say, hey, I need a hand, I need help, and to look out, to seek the people that are able to offer you that help,
Yeah.
So,
and I think remembering, like, they say you go to the doctor, like if your knee hurts, you're in physical pain, your mental health is first and foremost, and it's okay to get help if you're
absolutely,
if you're not feeling great in your head, like
absolutely,
it's normal.
Yeah, it is normal. It's perfectly normal. There's I would go so far as to say that what we I guess might construe as normal, mentally speaking, is probably a bit of a rarity in comparison to all of us out there as normal people. Once again, that struggle with a few issues. It could be, mild depression. It could be severe depression. It could be anxiety, anger.
Anxiety
There's so
is
much
huge.
stuff, especially today. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
There's so much going on in the world around us, and so much misinformation, so much, just a state of things that people are frightened. They're not sure who or what they are, where they are, what to do, how to live, where to stand, what to say, what not to say. It seems like there's all this societal
Do's and
ramifications,
don'ts,
and these walls coming up, and it's just like, I don't know. My advice is live and let live, and just always put the best foot forward.
Yeah.
It's not easy always to have such a optimistic outlook, but that's what mindfulness is about. If you cultivate it and you practice at it, it becomes much easier.
How do you implement mindfulness? What does that mean to you?
To me, I look at it as mental discipline, which might sound a little intimidating for some. But what for me, if I don't seek to, I love the old Buddhist proverb, mind your thoughts because they become your actions. Mind your actions because they become your words. Mind your words because they become your destiny.
Yeah.
I think that's a paraphrase of the actual.
But it's all.
Yeah. And so for me, I if I find myself thinking negatively, one of the hardest things I had to overcome was being my own worst enemy. In fact, Patriot wrote a song on the fourth album called "I Am My Own Worst Enemy," and it's the minute something doesn't go my way, or the minute even something I've not realized has kind of triggered the headspace, I go into this almost creating scenarios in my head of how I'm going to be wronged, or how I'm going to be screwed over, or how and that is it's negative, and I've learned to recognize that, man, bad place, leave it alone, and as easy as thinking the worst came to me, I found with a little bit of practice now, thinking that the best comes to me just as easily.
Yeah. So recognizing that your head's in the future, it's future anxiety.
Right.
And then kind of course correct.
Exactly.
And remind that you're in the present moment, and that's not happening.
Yeah, exactly. You have to do that. You have to stop and smell the roses, and you have to, you just have to realize that that to me is mindfulness. That to me is and mindfulness, I think it's another way of saying mindfulness could be mental discipline.
Yeah.
But I like mindfulness because it sounds kinder, and it sounds more, kind to yourself rather than, not just kind to others. So it makes a big difference to to learn to recognize the signs of a bad mood or negativity coming on, and just take a minute. I sometimes I used to sit myself down. And just think to myself, it's going to be all right. Everything's going to be fine. Just relax. Don't go there.
Yeah.
Don't put stones in the way. Don't create issues that aren't there. Don't make mountains out of molehills.
Yeah.
And it almost became like a mantra. I keep saying it over and over to myself, and it took root. And so as a result, I've learned to be much better than I once was, as far as my mindset and stuff like that's concerned.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I'm perfect. I have my moments too, but yeah.
But again, it's you're human, and it's having the awareness.
Right. And
if you're aware of it, that's
and awareness is, in my opinion, that first step to mindfulness. Some people might even say awareness is mindfulness. I'd like to think mindfulness is not only being aware, but being proactive or doing something.
Having the ability to recognize it and then do some
something
action.
about it. Yeah. You got that emotional mind, you got that pragmatic mind, and then transcending above it all is this space we want to be mentally, where you get a little bit of input from the emotional side and a little bit from the pragmatic side, and in the middle you meet to make the best choices and decisions you can come up with. So that's kind of what I shoot for when I'm trying to stay mindful.
Do you do breathing techniques or anything like that?
I'm sorry?
Do you do any kind of breathing techniques or anything?
No, I really want to. I think about my breathing when I'm meditating. But I am the world's worst when it comes to discipline. Like, I tell myself, I'm going to make sure I meditate for 10 minutes every morning the entire month. And by day 4, day 5, I'm, I'm such a spontaneous person, and I thrive on spontaneity. I have to, I get cagey really easy, and I hate routines, and I'm much happier when every day is a complete mystery. I got no plans. Oh yeah, I got to go to work, but whatever.
Yeah. And
that's fun for me.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, there's some personalities that really thrive on the order and having this routine very structured all the time.
Right,
and
right.
then sometimes, even if, because I'm like that, I like having the order, but
Sure.
my God, I need to just break out of it sometimes.
Yeah.
It gets too monotonous.
And I do get it. I'm one of those people that probably would benefit from a little more order, a little more structure, but I'm like a young dog that got out of the backyard fence. I'm off and running. And that's always been my way I did life.
When you meditate, do you do it in silence with music? Do you have an app?
I do it in silence.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's real simple, and it's probably not even sufficient enough to be considered full meditation. I don't know, but I just think about my breathing.
Mm-hmm.
I inhale through my nose deeply. Exhale through my mouth after a few seconds deeply. Focus on that. I have this focal point right here on my upper lip where I focus on,
Yep.
where the air is entering and leaving my body. And then every time I get some kind of thought in my mind, I consciously let it go. Let it go. Don't think about it. The idea is to reach this almost mentally empty place where you're not thinking about anything, and you're not allowing yourself to be distracted. I suppose would be a good way to put it. And that's about the extent of what I do for meditation. And I try to do that at least 10 minutes a day when I do it, And the best part about it is I don't have to do it first thing in the morning. I could do it between tattoo clients. I can do it, in the back of the van when we're on the road from one town to another to play a show. I can do it anywhere, And granted, being alone and being in private, or rather in quiet, I should say, makes it easier. But it's just about, for me, it just recharges the mental battery, so to speak.
Have you ever started a meditation and like the monkey mind's just going crazy, or you're just sort of like too distracted and too agitated, or was it like that in the beginning?
Yeah. And honestly, that still happens sometimes now. And I think I've found certain stimulants like too much coffee will multiply that as well. So I mean, therein I think it's a good example of why the physical health ties in with the mental health. Yeah. One small example.
Yeah.
Because there's that mental, physical, and spiritual health. That's that balance that I'm seeking, and although I can look back and tell I've made great progress in my life, I still have so far to go. But for me, it's not about obtaining that satori, that spot. It's just about enjoying every step along the way.
It's the journey, it's the process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because there is no end point.
No, I agree with you.
Aside from death.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise.
Well, I don't even think that's an end point. I think that's just a transition to a different state of being. But we could get into that for hours.
Chapter 2.
Chapter 2. But I definitely have, even today, my monkey mind will get away from me if I'm not careful, because I'm very inquisitive and very curious, and always wanting to see something new or do something different, It's like I can't slow down.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have any kind of like final advice or thoughts for any kind of rock and rollers, punk rockers, skinheads, anybody in the scene for?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of things, a lot of advice that I guess I could give. But I think an important part of therapy and an important part of mindfulness and mental health is learning to be easier and more gentle with yourself when you have internal dialogue, when you are looking inside at the issues that you'd like to be better about. You have to sort of get in touch with this younger you or this smaller you, and you have to forgive that part of you, because it's so easy. It's human nature to look back and see I did wrong there. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. And you end up being your own worst critic by far. And it's so hard to, I should say it's so easy to trip yourself up with that sort of internal dialogue. If you don't learn to be more gentle and more forgiving with yourself, you're definitely impeding your progress in your journey in life. So that would be my first thing is to slow down and be more gentle with yourself. Talk to yourself, a little more understanding and respect.
Yeah.
And then, of course, my eternal optimism. Everything always works out for the best. Everything's going to be okay, no matter what.
Yeah, that's
I promise.
one of my favorite quotes is everything's okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end.
Oh, that's awesome. I've never heard that. Yeah, that's way cool.
Everything's okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's and that's the truth. We could say never really is an end, but
But resolve, feeling at peace.
Yeah. Exactly. And it's it may not seem so, but I guess that last bit of advice I would give to anyone is that everything you need to be who you want to be, you got right here. Whether you realize it or believe it or not, you just have to know it's true. And you just slow down, give yourself a break a little more often. Stop and smell the roses, and just remember it all works out in the end. It all works out for the best.
That's good. Do you have a favorite quote?
Yeah. As odd as we discussed this earlier. I love the Charles Bukowski quote. Find something you love and let it kill you. That's kind of my zest for life kind of mentality. And I think any person that can say they've followed their heart, it sounds cliche, but having the courage to follow your heart is really important, because at the end of the day, we can live our lives for other people, but we're really only here for ourselves, and that doesn't mean that we step on others or walk on others to get where we want to be. We help out where we can, and but at the same time, ultimately, we're only responsible for ourselves and our own happiness.
Yep.
And as difficult it is to grasp, everything you need for that is right there inside, So, just why worry? Why, every day's a new adventure. Take it as it comes, and,
go with the flow like water.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yep.
Does Patriot have anything cool coming up anytime soon?
Yeah, we're slowly hammering into place a new record. We've got a split we're sharing with 3 other bands, each band contributing 3 songs. It should be out hopefully no later than May at the latest. Where us and 3 other bands each contributed 3 songs. We are writing in addition to maintaining the regular set list so that we're ready to perform. We've got a few festivals coming up. We're really excited, provided nothing goes wrong, knock on wood.
Right.
With COVID-19, we're going to England in August to play Rebellion Festival for the first time. So we're super stoked on that. So a few shows coming up, and that trip to England, and then of course getting this new record we're writing kind of completely put together and recorded, and that's pretty much what we're chipping away at. So.
That's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it almost sounds like it isn't, but it really is. Especially that writing and composing part. I mean, especially with one member that lives in 5-6 hour drive away. It's kind of hard to be as productive as we'd like to be. But we make it work.
You're making it work.
That's right.
And you're positive about it.
Absolutely.
So there you go.
If not, you're not gonna get anywhere. You gotta keep that PMA.
Yeah.
So.
All right, well, far out. Eddie, thank you so much
for
making time.
Thank you, Amy.
It's cool hearing your what mindfulness means to you and just your take on mental health and
thank you.
Being open about it. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Glad to help out any way I can.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Thanks. Appreciate you.
Fractional face, less than a whole. To perpetuate some noise from our souls. The souls will grow louder till one voice is heard. And drown out moments of cowardice words. The old, the mature, security inflation. Growing the currency that flows through our nation. The rage and alliance, the young and the bold. Will send away crashing on the towers of gold. Belligerent rebellion.